The girls are boycotting this week.
Gotta do something. Yeah.
The girls
Social
are
reform.
boycotting.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, all the boycotts come.
Welcome to Keep It, Cricket Media's show about pop culture and politics and what happens when they smack into each other at an alarming speed. I'm your host, Ira Madison III, a television writer and Fall Out Boy fan.
I'm Virtel. I'm a TV writer and Jane Fonda historian.
And I'm Aida Osman. I'm a TV writer and alleged comedian.
Let's get into it.
Two international production giants are facing criticism and threats of boycotts over new releases, but for very different reasons. They are, of course, Disney for Mulan, the live-action remake, and Netflix for Mignons, or Cuties, as you Americans have been calling it. Let's get into Mulan first. Remember last week I was like, oh, I'll watch it. And then truly people were flooding my Twitter feed being like, Ira, don't you watch this movie. Don't support it. And listen, believe it or not, I just was busy. And so I wasn't even consciously thinking of not watching it. And now I probably won't. Because also, I don't really watch these live action Disney movies in the first place.
It was the one out of all of them I was most excited about because
Same.
it seemed to be the least kind of kitschy or dependent on recreating the humor of the original.
Also, it has an all-human cast, so it's not impossible to do. I mean, rather than, it's not like a Lion King, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Lion King because Beyonce, obviously. But Aladdin, I tried to watch on a plane, and after the one jump, I cut it off because I was like, no, this is not cute in live action.
Mm-hmm.
But Mulan, the anger here seems justified.
Yeah,
So,
it's not even about the content of the movie as much as it's about the production and the care.
Disney filmed it in Xinjiang, a province of China where the government is currently keeping over 1 million Muslims in basically concentration camps. And it thanked the regions and officials in the credits. So that's not great. Disney.
Well, I truly can't fathom, and I know that we're waiting on responses and we're waiting for this to be dealt with in an ethical way, but right now, I mean, for those of us that don't know, there are 11 million Uyghur Muslims living in this province in China, and 1 million of them are being forcibly indoctrinated to lose their culture in these re-education camps right now, and this is all news to Americans probably within the past year or two.
There's just this idea that Disney, a conglomerate, is, using an area which is promoting nationalism, and ethno-nationalism.
Yeah.
And it's really just not important because we're making some money,
Mm-hmm.
And even beyond that, there was an article from Axios about the colorism that's been happening in Chinese films as well. The idea that an academic study found that since 2012, when the Chinese government began allowing more foreign films into the country, Hollywood movies have cast more lighter-skinned actors in starring roles. And so this ties in with the fact that how often do we hear studios talking about, sort of quote-unquote international appeal, and they're always trying to think about the box office in Asia, because that's where you're going to recoup money for these huge blockbusters. And then it's this idea that, we're also going to cast lighter-skinned people because that's what we have to do to make money over there, And this is the same shit that, Will Smith would talk about, the idea that, you can only have this one black person, and you can't have darker-skinned people. And, it's just the idea that this is a thing that studios have been dealing with while trying to make their films bigger in China. And then you also have the compounded thing of, the shit going on with where they were filming in Xinjiang. So, there's just a lot going on that makes the movie just feel not like something I want to sit down and watch and support. Mike Gallagher, a Republican from Wisconsin, who normally I would probably dislike because I hate the Wisconsin GOP. But this is one where it doesn't seem reactionary, you know? I mean, obviously we're dealing in a political environment right now where like everyone is trying to find a way to point the finger at China because they think it's going to hurt the other side, right? You know? And so obviously, you know, like a Republican would take this up because they could be like, look at this stuff going on with China, and this is Hollywood, and, you know, and Joe Biden, and the China virus, all this other like racist shit, you know? But like this is also something that seems like it is worth scrutiny and would love an actual response from Disney about it, you know? And the colorism shit just like hits me too, you know? Because wasn't it just this week that John Boyega talked about how he removed himself from Jo Malone London's fragrance ad because they had shot an ad with him that was about his family and his life and experience, but then when it aired in China, they replaced him, you know, and put like a different actor in it, you know? And that just reminds me of when also Disney, The Force Awakens, when that was being released in different territories, removed his ass from the poster.
Oh yeah,
in China.
This is all coming back to me. This is all coming back to me. Did they push him back toward the like background?
I think they pushed him back or something, but like he was front and center in the American poster, and then really non-existent in the Chinese poster. And that is the shit that he has been talking about in the media now, you know, in that interview that Boyega did with GQ, where he just talked about like the shit that he had to deal with making the Star Wars films and about how they weren't prepared for racist attacks on him and like Kelly Marie Tran too. That's from American racist trolls, but you know, it just sort of sucks.
But in terms of reactionary Republican views, are you suggesting that Ted Cruz's reaction to the Cuties situation and lumping in the Obamas with Netflix's decision-making is somehow disingenuous?
I think the logic follows.
I think you might be right. See, this is a situation where, I'm a Republican. I'm a piece of shit like Ted Cruz, and I'm also love playing whataboutism, and I would love a way to stick it to the liberals and Obama. There's a controversy happening with a film where people are claiming that minors are being over-sexualized. So we're already going to attack that because of like QAnon and like Epstein and everything else. Republicans have decided that they are on the side of saving everyone from pedophilia.
Which is quaintly old school homophobic too. It makes me think of like the 70s and Harvey Milk and stuff. It's really, you know, really nice ultimately.
Yeah.
Pleasant.
You know, and but also still not doing anything about Bryan Singer. Don't really care about that. We're focusing on this. So we have to attack this, but wait. This movie is being distributed by Netflix. The Obamas have a deal at Netflix. The Obamas are the ones who went to France, picked up Cuties themselves, and said, let's broadcast this across the globe. That must be what happened, right? It is so fucking asinine. Like, I worked on 2 fucking Netflix shows. Am I responsible for Cuties? This is a film from French and Senegalese director Maimouna Diakhaté. I love saying that name, Diakhaté.
I'm sure you nailed it, yes.
It was her award-winning feature debut, Cuties, and it's about this preteen girl who leaves her Senegalese family with a conservative background to try and join a group of young girls at her school who are like part of this dance troupe, and they're doing like sexualized dancers, and it's really about how culture sexualizes young girls and like how they can be seduced by it, etc. We've seen movies like this before. We've seen Kids, we've seen 13, you know, it's nothing new, you know, but because Netflix bungled the promo and did this poster of like the final dance in the movie with them all in their like dance moms, toddlers, and tiara costumes, basically. So we've seen this shit on TV before. Ted Cruz ain't coming after Abby Lee Miller for, you know, having the girls dressed like this in dance moms. But anyway, the poster was dumb. It did misrepresent the movie, and they were right to be dragged. But of course, because that was on the internet, everyone started taking this up as a mantle of Netflix is hypersexualizing girls and like promoting pedophilia, and I have a headache.
Right.
Because the internet has become exhausting, even more so, and it's like literally like sifting through the YouTube comments of InfoWars.
Also, let's just talk about Ted Cruz for a minute. If you don't ever stick up for like the rights of women, for example, if women seem to be garbage to you, just period, I don't believe you when you're suddenly fucking obsessed with the humanitarian rights of children. I don't believe you. So